everyone.
Let me introduce myself. My full name is Amanda Mesai Tungga. You can call me Amanda.
Here I will bring an article with the title Him Too, Why Jesus Should Be Recognized as a Victim of Sexual Violence. The session of land is an invitation to the churches, to anyone else who wishes to do so, to reflect on the disturbing story of the torture and crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth
As described of the New Testament,
it is one of the most widely known and often retold stories in human history. Yet despite being read and remembered so often, there is
a part of the story which typically
receives little attention and minimal discussion, the stripping of Jesus.
the Me Too movement has highlighted the prevalence of sexual assault,
Sexual harassment
and other sexual abuse experienced
by women and girls many different forms. It has also exposed the
common tendency to deny, dismiss,
or
minimize the significance
and
impact of this experience.
the stripping of Jesus. With this in mind, during this present Lenten period, it seems especially appropriate to recall the stripping of Jesus and to name it for what it was
Intended to be a powerful display of
humiliation
and gender-based
violence, which should be acknowledged as an act
of sexual violence and abuse.
The idea that Jesus himself experienced sexual abuse might sound
Strange or shocking at first, but
crucifixion was a supreme punishment, and the stripping and exposure of victims was not an
accidental or incidental.
essential element.
It was a
Deliberate action that the Romans used to
humiliate and degrade those they wished to punish.
it means that
The crucifixion was more than just physical, it was also a devastating emotional
and psychological punishment. The competition in Christian art of
covering Christ's
nakedness of the cross with a
loincloth is perhaps an anthropostable response to the
indignity of Roman
crucifixion, but this
should not prevent
us from recognizing that the historical reality would have been very different.
this is not just a matter of
Correcting
the
historical record of Jesus is named as a victim of sexual abuse. It could
make a huge difference to how the church ends with movements
like Me Too and how they
promote change in wider
society.
this could contribute significantly, and especially in societies where the
Majority of people identify as a Christian.
some skeptics might respond that stripping a prisoner might
Be a form of violence or abuse.
but it is misleading to call this sexual violence.
Or sexual abuse.
Yet if the purpose was to humiliate,
Decapitate and expose him to
mockery by others,
and
if the stripping is done
against his
will and as
a way to shame
him in public, then recognizing it as a form
of sexual violence or sexual abuse seems
entirely justified. The way that of the stripping of Vercingetorix, king of the
Arveni is described in the first
episode of the first series
of the Hebrew series Romeo Rome is an example
of this.
This can highlights the vulnerability of the naked prisoner who described and exposed it
In front
of the assembled ranks of hostile Roman soldiers. The power and control of Roman power is contrasted with the vulnerability and forced
submission of the prisoner. Of the skin also hints at the possibility of even greater
sexualist violence which might be in
store. Combating stigma, the situation of the
cross in
Santurio de
Fatima Jewel, Portugal, Wikimedia Commons. Jesus' gender is
central to readers' seeming
unwillingness to recognize the sexual abuse
to which he is subjects analysis of the gendering of nakedness
by Margaret R. Miles demonstrates that we view male and female nakedness differently.
in biblical art
In the Christian
West, while
argues that the naked male body represents glorious altruism,
respecting spiritual
as well as physical suffering.
sexual abuse
Doesn't form part of the narrative of masculinity inherent in representations of Jesus. Naked women, however, are immediately
in the field,
as sexual objects.
seeing a woman being forcibly stripped then might be more
Recognizable as sexual abuse than the
stripping of Jesus
in the Gospels of Matthew and Mark.
If Christ was a female figure, we wouldn't hesitate to recognize her
Ordeal as sexual abuse.
Some present-day Christians are still reluctant
Or accept that Jesus was a victim
of sexual violence and seem to consider sexual abuse as an exclusively female experience. Women need not want
to dwell on the disturbing
indigeneity of
classification for the whole year,
but it is not right to forget about it completely either. The sexual abuse of Jesus is a missing part of Passion
and Easter story retelling.
It's appropriate
To recognize Jesus as a victim of sexual violence to address the continuing stigma
for those who experience sexual abuse, especially
men
landowners,
as a period in
which the stark
reality of classification might be
recalled and
connected
to the important question that
movements
like Me Too
are raising
for the churches and for
wider
society once
we acknowledge
with sexual abuse of
Jesus
perhaps will be more willing
to
acknowledge sexual abuse in our own
content. Conclusion. So from this article with the with the title Why Jesus Must Be Recognized as a Victim of Sexual Violence, because without realizing that so little attention was paid to the sexual degrading experience of Jesus as part of the nakedness, torture, and crucifixion. Where the torture took place during Lent, we know that there is a part where the soldiers stripped Jesus of his clothes and told Jesus to walk with only a small piece of cloth. That's the conclusion I can give. I hope you all can understand. Thank you.